Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is a creepy content channel, so if that's something that you like, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and tell your friends about it. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Chris Watts case. Now, I know that you've all heard about the Chris Watts case, but we're going to be focusing on just the creepy aspects of that case. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Chris Watts admitted to murdering his family on August 13 of 2018. Now, he didn't admit to it on that day, but that was the day that he committed the murders. During the murders, Chris Watts' wife was pregnant. He buried his wife in a shallow grave, and he also put both of his children into the oil tanks themselves. And then he just went on to work as if nothing happened. The whole thing was off, especially for the people who personally knew them. And their relationship was already pretty public because, you could pretty much say that his wife was almost considered an influencer since she was always on social media. Everyone always knew what she was up to. She pretty much invited everybody into her life. And most of the time, whenever she posted, it was her and her kids and also her husband. He was very involved and seemed very caring, especially to people who personally knew them. So it was, the whole thing was probably just the craziest news ever, even if he wasn't considered to be that nice of a person. But just because of the fact that he was, it kind of threw everybody off. So during the investigation, when it first started, this was where things started to get really weird. The neighbor tells the police officers on the investigation, as well as Chris Watts, that he has surveillance cameras facing towards the driveway that they can review to see if maybe anybody came and kidnapped the wife and kids, since they were still searching for them. So Chris Watts and the police go into the neighbor's house to review the surveillance footage. At a certain point, the neighbor goes to change the channel, and he stops, because he's talking to them. And when he stops, viewers noticed, as well as me, and I was wondering if anybody noticed this too, but it was the weirdest, freakiest thing ever. On the TV, it was a intro to a season of American Horror Stories, and it was the intro to the Apocalypse season. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but I'm gonna link that video in the description if you want to see it. This intro comes on, and it's eerily similar to the crimes that Chris Watts had committed. It starts off showing a baby fetus. Now, you guys know that Chris Watts' wife was pregnant, and that fetus, for some reason, in the intro is like getting, covered in oil, and then all of a sudden it's showing a woman buried in the ground, and then it gets covered in oil, and then it zooms out, and it's like in this field that literally looked like his job site. Now, to me, that was very odd. It made me wonder if it was a message or something, or maybe it could have been a spirit taunting him after the evil things that he did, because I just can't imagine committing a crime like that, and in the middle of an investigation, something like that going on, something like that playing after what I know I just did, that would be terrifying to me. And then, for those of you who know the show American Horror Story, it's scary and stuff like that. So while it's showing all these images that are eerily similar to the crimes that he committed, it's got all this creepy music and all. I don't know what to think of it. That set off a really weird, dark vibe for me. So anyway, later on during the investigation, they were searching Christopher Watts' phones, and I'm not sure if this was found before or after he admitted to the murders, but they found out eventually that Chris Watts had a mistress, and so they were, figuring that this was motive to why he wanted to get rid of his family. And the detectives even said themselves that they were pretty creeped out when they heard the voice message that was left on his phone by his mistress.
Hi. It's me. I guess just call me back when you have a chance. Bye. Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi. Call me back. Bye.
It was really weird. I'm telling you, there was definitely something strange about this case in general. So I'm listening to the voice message because that eventually got leaked. And she's like changed her voice in a really weird tone and almost sounds childlike and has like this really creepy laugh. Every time I hear that voice message, I swear it gives me the creeps. So during the investigation and even after, Nicole Kessinger was being accused of being involved in the case, in the murders some way or somehow. However, she ended up being innocent. But for me, I think that there's a dark connection, okay? And we're gonna go over that. After Chris Watts was in jail, he was interviewed by a woman named Sherilyn Cadle. And she was there because she wanted to write a book about the case. And she eventually started asking Chris Watts about the mistress. And he said something that caught my attention. He said that the things that he did in the mistress's house were so dark that he would take them to the grave. And to me, that definitely raised like red flags in my mind. Because I was automatically thinking, like, if you already admitted to murdering your wife and kids, what could be darker than that? Like, that you can't mention. Unless if it was just something that maybe he was afraid to talk about. I have no idea why he wouldn't talk about it, but it definitely just made me think a million other dark thoughts. There was, during the investigation, they found text from the mistress to his phone asking him to purchase specific crystals. But we don't know what purposes she was using the crystals for, so that's where we kind of just used our imagination and our minds to try to pin things together. But yeah, they also found crystals under his children's bed, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is strange, especially considering what happened. It makes me wonder, was there anything going on in the house paranormal that he doesn't want to talk about? Did she do any kind of spells or anything? And the reason why I'm bringing that up, okay, I know that could sound a little far-fetched, but if you're talking about crystals and spiritual things like that, she seems like a spiritual person if she is into crystals. What if she performed an obsession spell or something like that and did it incorrectly? And I'm pretty sure if some of you are familiar with that, they say that if you do it incorrectly, it could be really bad. And things like what happened here do happen. They become so obsessed. I don't know, it's just a thought of mine, it's just a theory. I definitely do think that there could have been some involvement there, especially with all the other strange occurrences that have happened after the case. So when the house was cautioned off and closed for investigation, that they were like basically going through the house and collecting evidence, there was multiple 911 calls from the neighbors saying that there was activity in the house. So the dispatcher comes, and again, this video was leaked on YouTube, so you can take a look. They show up, they're armed, they go into the house, and they're asking if anyone's there, and there was no one there. Now, that part kind of creeps me out because, also, when Christopher Watts was being interviewed, he did mention that the house felt like it had, like, a dark energy in it, and that a week before the murders, he was so scared to sleep without the lights being on. So that kind of makes me wonder, was he telling the truth? Some people think that maybe it wasn't so truthful about the darkness and that he was just saying that to put the blame on something else. But I have to say, I mean, it's not every day that someone just gets rid of their whole family without there being any darkness involved. So I just wonder where it came from. Why did this happen in such a short period of time? And I don't know, it just seems a little off to me, the whole thing. It's a little bizarre. I'm interested in knowing what you guys think in the comments, and if you think that I'm right or do you think it's too far-fetched, definitely let me know. And thank you so much for joining me on this creepy channel. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends about it. I'll see you next time. Bye.